Hello friends, welcome back to Essay 204 Lab 4. So we are going to continue working on the exercise 4. So let's go to the instructions page. So here we are, exercise 4. Now we need to work on the task 3. Task 3 says get SQL Azure SQL database records by using entity framework. So step 1 is in the main method of your program class program.cs we need to create a new instance of Adventure Works SQL context. Okay, class by passing SQL database connection string as a variable. Okay, so I'll copy this one and I'll go to the main method here and I'll create the new instance. So I'll just put the code here. Okay, so we are passing this one, it's coming from here, SQL database connection string. So there is only one parameter that need to supply. Let's go back. Now in the main method we need to add this piece of code. It will fetch the models, basically product details, from Azure SQL database and populate items list. Okay, so let's copy and go to our VS Code. I'll paste this on here. Control save. Let's go back to the browser. Now next in the main method, we need to add the following line to print the number of records imported from the SQL database. So here we are fetching the data from the Azure SQL database and here we are going to print the list size, the total number of records fetched from the Azure SQL database. Okay. Here it is. So this one is easy. Here we are registering the context Azure Works SQL context, and here we are fetching the data from products table. Okay, so here we are populating the list, and here we are printing the list size, the number of records in the list. Let's go back. Now we need to save the program, and we need to change the context root. Okay, to migrate. Okay, so we'll copy this one, and then we need to run the .NET build command. Okay, let's go back. So I think context root is okay, it's adventure work, so we need to, let me just clear. Let's change the context root to migrate. Okay, now we need to run the command called .NET build just to make sure that there are no errors in the project. Okay, so there are no warnings and no errors, so we are good here. Let's go back. Okay, so here we are done with the task 3. Let's go to task 4. Task 4 says insert items into Azure Cosmos DB. Okay, so again we need to go to the our main program, main method of our program.cs class, and there we need to create a new instance of Cosmos client so that we can connect Cosmos DB. Okay, so in the main method I'll put this line here. So here we are passing Cosmos DB connection strings coming from here. Here it is. Let me just pull this down. Okay, save, go back to the browser. Next thing, in the main method, add the following line of code to create a new database named retail. Okay, so here we are going to access the Cosmos DB account, and now here we are going to create a new database in Cosmos DB account. Okay, so here you need to pay to the attention to the syntax, like how it goes. Database client dot create database if not exist. Okay, and the name is retail. So this is how you go and create a database in Cosmos DB. Next thing is that in the main method, we need to add this block of code. It will create a new container in Cosmos DB, and the name of the container will be online. Okay, and here is partition key is category. Throughput is 1000 request units. Okay, so we need to mention two parameters while creating a new container in Cosmos DB. One is partition key, so that will be your category, and throughput is 1000. So I'll copy this one from here. Let's go and paste this in into our code here. Okay, so here it is. We are good. So basically, if you see here, we have passed three parameters. One is container name, container partition key, and throughput, three parameters. If I'll let me just push it here. Okay, here you can see, right? And this should go here. So this is how it is. Let's go back. Now in the main method, we need to go and define a new integer value, count. Okay. And we also need to add this for each loop. So in main method is here, I'll go and create a new variable called int count equals to 0. And here I'll write the for each loop. Okay, perfect. Save. Now here we are going to, within for each loop, we need to add code to upsert the object into Azure Cosmos DB. So we are going to push data in Azure Cosmos DB. Okay, so we need to copy this particular line. Let's go and paste into the here. Okay. So basically, if you guys remember, here is the item list which is coming from Azure SQL database, and now we are pushing the items from Azure Cosmos DB into from Azure SQL database to Azure Cosmos DB. Okay, and here we are printing the activity ID of each upsert operation. Okay, so for example, if there are 10 items in the list and we are inserting 10 records in Cosmos DB, this particular piece of code will print the activity ID. Okay, let's go back to the browser. Now in the main method, outside of the for each loop, we'll add this piece of code, and this will print the number of documents exported to Azure Cosmos DB. So it will print the number of records which are there in Azure Cosmos DB, and we are going to print this one outside of this for each loop. I hope it's making some sense to you guys. We are inserting, so initially if you see this one here, this piece of code, it will go and fetch the data from Azure SQL database. Here it will print the total number of records that we have captured or fetched from the Azure from Azure SQL database. Now here we are getting the Cosmos client, and we are using this client to create a new container named retail in Azure Cosmos database. Okay. Now inside this database, we are going to create a new container, and we have passed three parameters to create the container online. So this is the container name, partition key, and throughput. Okay, so partition key is category. Now here in this for loop, we are reading the data from the item list that we have prepared here. So basically this item list has data from Azure SQL database that we are inserting in Azure Cosmos DB. So upsert item, it means we are pushing data into the Cosmos DB container in this one online. And then here we are printing the number of records. If you see this count, so it will bring the number of records that we have inserted in Cosmos DB. Perfect. Let's go back. Okay, so now we need to save the program. We need to change the context, but we are already here, adventureworks.migrate project. So we just need to run this .NET build command just to make sure that there are no errors in the program. So I'll simply run .NET and build. So in case there are errors, it will print the errors. Okay, so build is success. Nothing is wrong. We are good here. Now next task 5 is perform a migration, right? So now we are going to migrate. So we'll run our piece of code now. Let's go and run this particular program. .NET run. Now it will do the actual migration. It will fetch the data from records into Azure Cosmos DB. So here you can see records one by one. So it says total Cosmos DB documents 119, and here, so same, right? So we have inserted all the records from Azure SQL database into Azure Cosmos DB. Okay, So now next task is to validate the migration. We just need to make sure that we have data in our Azure Cosmos DB. So we need to go to the our polycosmos DB, and then from there we need to go and look for the data explorer, and here is our database retail. Okay, so I'll copy the SQL. Now follow me here. I'll go to our resource group. I'll go to here resource group polycosmos. Here is our database. Sorry, account actually. Now we need to go to the data explorer, which is here, and here we are going to run our SQL. One second. Okay, so retail is our database. I think yes, new SQL. Okay, one second, let's go back here. Oh, from there, yeah, we were right. So here we are going to run our SQL just to see that we have data in our Cosmos DB. Execute. Okay, so we have data, right? We have got response, JSON response. Let's go what it says. Now, once you execute your query, back in the editor, okay. Once you execute your SQL, observe the list of JSON models. Perfect, we have got JSON. Now in the query editor, we'll just go and update. We'll go and run this particular SQL. Select value count1 from Cosmos DB. Select execute query and then observe result of the count. Okay. Now let's go back here. Let me just replace value count1. So here you can see the total number of records. Okay, it says 119. Perfect. Now, so this is done. Review. In this exercise, you have used Entity Framework and .NET SDK for Azure Cosmos DB to migrate data from SQL database to Azure Cosmos DB. So we are done here. Now next is exercise 5. So that will cover in the next video.